beveling some string for braiding. So this is unbeveled and this is beveled. And it's about an 1/8 inch cowhide here. So this happens to be black, but I've got to do a few feet of string for buttons. So I'm making button string is another way to say what I'm doing. For some decorative string work. And I'm cutting more than I need, but I took a 6 foot string and cut it down to 1/8 inch. And the trick with this is how strong is the leather, and the leather will let you know how strong it is as you bevel it down. 1/8 inch beveled down is a little bit thinner than 1/8 of an inch. But it makes it triangular because the leather is thicker than the diagonals. So it's taken off most of the flesh side, so that's where some of the strength of the leather is, not just the skin side. You can always push away from the blade, but I don't recommend putting your finger towards the blade because that's the sharp bit. You have to kind of cut a feather to get between these 2 points. You may need to clear any chaff with a needle with this tool. Grab it with the pliers. Hello. Thank you for joining me. Art edits. Kind of cool. I'm Chuck with Pocket Snakes. I'm just cutting beveling some string to do some button knots. I've got a lanyard that uses orange and black. So I'm going to make some orange and black, probably pineapple knots here. So, but these are the black strings. So that's about 1/8 of an inch. Just burrito it up for a minute. And each of these strips are about 6 feet long. I need 3 or 4 feet. I'm not sure how much I need for these buttons because it depends on the surface area of the sphere or the shape. I started with a 6-inch piece about 9 millimeters wide, 10 millimeters wide, so like 3/8 of an inch. Straightened it up, made the string. So this is an orange piece, a piece of orange leather. Happens to be black light active. Not all orange is, but this one has some black light dye in it. And if you take a scalpel, you can trim off some of the furry edge, or the furry side. And that'll let you thread it through between the fence. Thread it through between the fence and the blade, which hopefully you can grab hold of with a pair of needle nose, because my fingernails are always breaking off. This is kind of pushing the limit on chrome tanned cowhide down to 1/8 of an inch or so. And so beveling this just helps the knot tying later lay flat and be prettier instead of having fuzzy edges everywhere. And again, these strips are about 6 foot long. Come back, cut another feather. Once you get it fed through, you can just kind of pull it through. So this tool is branded as Y-Knot. This is their combination beveler. I'm just running it backwards through. And this leather stretches a little, so, and I think that the blade is getting a little dull. So when the blade gets dull, there's a few options, but this is one. You can grab the tip with a pair of needle nose. You can snip it off, bend it off. It's a scalpel blade. And that's a little piece of blade off the tip. You got to put that in the sharps bucket because I work barefoot. If you lose it on the floor, you'll find it later with your toes. This is just rolling, it's not actually cutting. So that's frustrating. That's the piece I broke off. This is a number 11 scalpel blade, so it's got quite a sharp tip. So this is necking down as I'm doing this to about a 1/16 of an inch. Okay. So if it's going to fight you, let it fight you. Change the pitch of attack a little bit so that you're peeling off a little bit of the string. That's one thing about chrome tanned is you're working at it. It's stretchy in some parts of the hide, and if it's going to stretch, you never lose any of it. You just what you lose in width, you gain in length. And it'll also show you where it's weak. So this process does two things at once. If it won't bevel, if you're fighting it and it just isn't beveling and it breaks, let's tell you that it's too weak to tie the little knots, little button knots with. If it necks down, then I'll have 1/8 inch in black and maybe 1/16 inch in orange to work with. That's a 2-foot piece. Okay. But if it's going to break, you'd rather it break and show you where it's weak before you start tying knots with it. And cowhide, you're always pushing a boundary when you get it thin. Calf hide's a little better. Kangaroo is really nice at this size. So that's also about 18 inches. So here's a piece that's about 1/8 of an inch, same as the other piece started. And we're going to cut a feather. We're going to trim down the back side so it'll fit through the blade. Try and show you the whole process. I'm going to try and leave it at 1/8 of an inch as long as it'll keep cutting. And I'm not going to pull that hard on it where it necks way down if I don't have to. And this is, got to cut a feather out of that. And I'm just showing you one way of doing this because lots of people. Hi, Kane, Mason. I can sort of read the screen in between things, but I can't type and use both my hands. Neck it in a little bit. So no matter how sharp your blade is, it's going to fight you on some leathers. And chrome is about the hardest to set and bevel. Because it just wants to fold and wiggle and work around instead of go through. So this is a brand new scalpel blade. Cant it forward a little bit. You can kind of see how triangular shaped that is. And that little spline or spine down the center will help hold the strength required to tie the knots and not break the leather, hopefully. Hard to say what it will actually do or not. And this has some variation in the width. So where the blade wants to cut nicely, it's wide where it should be. And where it's fighting you, it's going to be more like 1/16 of an inch. Hello? How you doing? I was there a few minutes ago. Well, it'll probably be a couple weeks before I get into the paint or anything. I'll probably let the painter deal with it. Yeah, he'll know all that stuff. I'm a computer guy. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm familiar with the term. Snuggling behind screw down so that it almost right. Yeah, I appreciate that. Maybe a couple projects and stuff, but not very. I was there, it looked like they had the new paper down, like they had done stuff. I was starting to worry because the rain's coming, you know. Yeah, he's been plugging. Yeah, he's been plugging hard. I've been watching him throughout the day. I went over and I called my friend or was in the house and said, "Can you move your car?" So he came out and moved it. And then I'm like, you know, you're parked in the no parking. You're risking a ticket, but I'm not telling you how to run your show. This car's still parked in the no parking. You know. Okay. Unless the neighbor who's kind of parent calls and has the cops show up, they don't go in that loop unless they're in the loop for another reason, and most people in the loop for another reason aren't gonna write a ticket for somebody parked in the no parking. So, yeah. Well, thank you. It looks like it's coming along. I can run back over there if you'd like. Just give me a few minutes here. see any of the wood replaced really. I just came maybe half an hour ago, maybe it was an hour ago. So he's been busy